Well, hello there, naughty boys and girls. It is I, Disasterina! Welcome to the Tasty Earbits podcast. Here, we are all about the drag, the art, the trash, and the comedy. In this splashy new episode, we take a deep dive into a subterranean dream world of FantaSea. This sea skank got to talk on the Zoom conch with ultra-fantastic sea entity Blixtsunami, who will tell us about their recent appearance on the Netflix series called Mermaid. Get ready for some salty puns and be sure to keep your flies dry as we reel in the hall. Also, we have my Canadian drag son ZWERG with a very dramatic reading of a haunting fishtail. But first, some important news.
And now, Tasty Earbits News, your number 3 source of vitally important Disasterina news items.
Guess what, freaks? Something very important will be happening this fall, starting in September. My wonderful drag interview series, My Drag is Valid, which I'm sure you have seen on my YouTube channel, will now be broadcast on the Out TV network. That's right, all 15 spectacular episodes, plus a never-before-seen new episode, will be moving on up to a deluxe network in the sky. This is all starting sometime in September. The actual date is not set just yet. To start out, the series will be available on some FAST channels. That's FAST channels, which include Out TV Proud on Pluto TV, Free V, and Plex. Now, if you know what any of that means, you're way ahead of me. I still need to ask the kids how to start up the VCR for us. Then, later, it will be available via broadcast on Out TV Canada and then on subscription video on demand as VOD at outtv.com, Out TV on Prime Video, Out TV on Apple TV, and Roku channel. Lots of ways to view it. And if people like you watch it, they're gonna give us a season 2. So you have some homework to do. Get those eyeballs on our show. You may be thinking, well, that's great, Disasterina, but I've seen the episodes before. Well, Rommel, you magnificent bastard, I read your book. I have updated the episodes with new video content and new fancy graphics and photos and music. So don't be fucking stupid. Go and watch them. And now, a mermazing FantaSea interview with the most jawsome merperson in the 7 seas, Starfish, of the Netflix series Merpeople. Blixtsunami, thank you so much for being on Tasty Earbits Podcast!
Hey, yay! Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so grateful you wanted me on here. I'm super excited to get to know you and chit-chat and, tell you what's word on the reef or whatever.
I love all those terms. There's like a whole lingo about what you do. The Mer people have this whole lingo. Just give me a few examples of Mer lingo.
So, dolphinately.
Definitely love it.
What else? See you later. Mermazing. Fantastic. For a currency, I usually tell people, yo, let me get like 5 pearls or 5 sand dollars, you know? What else is there? There's so many words. Turtly cool.
Okay, what does turtly mean?
Turtly, like totally.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
Basically, any word, if you find something ocean related to put in front of the word, it's fine.
Okay. Let me tell the people out there what we're talking about. My wife and I recently saw a mini-series on Netflix. It was called Mer People. And we were just zooting around. We're like, what do we watch tonight? So let's watch this thing. It's Mer People. It's about mermaids. Oh, interesting. So we had no idea that there was this entire mermaid community out there.
Mhm.
We knew, that people dressed up in these tales and people having fun, whatever, but there's this whole community doing it.
Everywhere.
When you were growing up and you were thinking that you wanted to be a mermaid, did you even know that there was a mer community?
So for me, as a kid, I was just always obsessed with mermaids.
Mm-hmm.
I was that kid that would get home from school and go straight to the computer and Google everything mermaid I can find. I remember one day in maybe my freshman year of high school, I found a forum online called Meryuku. And it was a bunch of other people from around the world having the same mermaid obsession as me. So I was like, oh my God, I found my tribe. So freshman year of high school is when I found out I could actually do it for real and not just be some obsessed kid.
When did you start dressing as a mermaid?
Well, I got my first tail in 2012. The year after I graduated out of high school. The mermaid thing has just been there forever, to be honest. It just took me to finally be able to buy a tail and be like, okay, life is complete. So ever since I've been a kid, the obsession has been there.
So when I see videos and pictures of you, it's often you underwater and you can hold your breath, I guess, for a long time. And in these beautiful silicone tails, you can go under the water and swim around and stuff. And you got a big smile on your face and your eyes are open. Now, when did you learn to swim? Did your family have a pool or something, or did you swim in the ocean?
I grew up near the ocean, so I grew up on the beach a lot, but not really swimming in the ocean. But once I got to my first summer camp when I was a kid, that's when I learned how to swim because it was an indoor pool we went to every day. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my opportunity to learn how to swim because I didn't grow up learning how to swim. I had to teach myself. Well, I had some kid friends back then teach me how to swim once I got into camp. I was probably around 8 or 9 years old when I first started to learn how to swim. So thank you to summer camp.
Summer camp success story. You hear so many horror stories about summer camp.
Right.
So it's good to know there's some good stuff going on there too.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm enthralled. I've got so many questions. First of all, I'll apologize because these questions are going to be coming at you. They're in no particular order.
I love it.
I'm just obsessed.
All the answers.
When did you decide, well, I want to make my career being a mermaid? Or you're a merman? Or are you a merperson?
The whole pronoun thing, to me, I don't really get too big on that. So people call me mermaid, merman, merfolk, merperson. I don't care. But yeah, once I started to learn how to swim, I was like, oh my God, this was the missing part of my life. I needed to know how to swim to be more connected to the ocean and water and this whole mermaid-esque thing I had going on.
And how did you learn how to do those poses underwater? You hold your breath. It seems like you're holding your breath for minutes.
Yeah.
And you do these really beautiful poses underneath. People should go out there and go to Blick Tsunami and see their videos and stuff because they're swimming just like a fish. They've got this big silicone tail and it's slow undulating and they're so graceful underwater.
Yes. Practice.
So you got to practice in the pool.
Years of practice, years of painful red chlorine eyes, years of water going up your nose, sinuses, and blowing your nose all day and waking up not being able to breathe.
So the chlorine hurts your nasal passages.
Sometimes if I do certain dives or backflips, I have to know what my nose is going to do before I do it. Now I'm used to it. Now my eyes don't hurt. My nose don't really hurt as much as it was in the beginning because I guess I'm so like conditioned to it. But I definitely suggest gel eye drops. If you want to learn how to pose and be a mermaid underwater for photos, it's way better to use the gel-like eye drops because they coat your eyes better than like the liquid ones.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of practice and a lot of eye drops.
When did you start to interface with all these other mer people? Did you start like online or did you go to a convention and meet them all?
Well, I mean, it started online in a way because that's how you got to know everybody because everybody was in like different states and countries.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time I met all the other mermaids was at a mermaid convention. I want to say it was Mermania back in like 2015 was my first time going to a mermaid convention and meeting like mermaids from all over the place.
Where was that one?
That was in North Carolina.
Okay.
And then after that, literally shortly after that, I got my first gig, my first paid gig as a professional mermaid for Dallas Pride in Texas.
Oh, fun. That leads into another question. Are you a 100% professional mermaid?
Yes, I would consider myself that because I feel like someone is officially a professional mermaid once they get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they just do that one gig their whole life, you're considered a professional mermaid because you got paid to put that tail on and entertain or do whatever you got paid to do. So, yeah, I definitely consider myself a professional mermaid for sure.
So I am, believe it or not, a professional drag performer. It's not much money, but I'm like you. I can say I am professional. I can see those dollar bills. There's not a lot of them, but they're there.
Mm-hmm.
That must have been really exciting.
Yes, it's always exciting.
And now a short break for an important message.
Hi, this is Sparkleboard the Mushroom Gnome. You are listening to the Tasty Earbits podcast. Help support our endeavor by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/ColdSlutsOnFire. One word. I'm Snorkelboard the Mushroom Gnome. The Mushroom Gnome, the Mushroom Gnome, the Mushroom Gnome, the Mushroom... Snorkelboard, the Mushroom Gnome, the Mushroom Gnome, the Mushroom...
And now back to Blix Tsunami. Who are your good friends? Is it some people from the Netflix series like Shay Monique, Merman Andy and stuff like that? Are those your friends?
Yeah, I basically consider all of the mermaids and mermen my siblings. I call them my sisters and my sea bros. So yeah, I definitely try to be the one that's cool with everybody. I mean, I can't be cool with everybody, but you know, I try to be like, hey, I'm Blix. You're my sibling now, so how you doing? If you ever need any advice, I always tell people who get their tails for the first time, if they ever need advice for anything or something's worrying them, I'm always here for new and old mermaids. Like the Blix Tsunami is the one that will answer your DMs or your email. I have no shame. I have no problem with helping anybody with anything when it comes to this mermaid world.
My impression from the miniseries is that the mer community is very kind of tight-knit. Everybody knows each other. Everybody's very supportive. And everybody is very inclusive. Is that right?
Yeah, it's actually a lot of good vibes a lot of the times. But like every community, even as a human world, the cosplay world, all the worlds where there's a niche for a community, there's going to be drama. There's going to be people that don't get along. And that's natural. It comes with the territory, you know? But I can say for most parts, a lot of people are really cool with each other and we try to keep it that way.
Maybe there's a little drama. Maybe there's a little competition going on. People want to one-up each other.
Yeah.
But generally, it seems like it's a very open community. Anybody who wants to be a mer person, anybody is invited.
Anybody for sure. Yes. Anybody from anywhere can literally buy a mermaid tail and be a mer person, whatever kind of mer person they want to be. And that's the best part, that anybody can do it. And then you can make up your own mersona. Like you could be from California, but then your mersona is from Alaska or like Antarctica. And you're like, a winter ice mermaid. Like, you know, you can do whatever you want. Like,
Or Atlantis.
or Atlantis. Yes. Anywhere in the world your character can be from, like all of that stuff. It's all free for all. The sky is not the limit. It's beyond the sky is the limit.
I love that. The sky is not the limit. Wow, I'm going to use that.
Yes.
This mini-series is so eye-opening, and it looked like it was a lot of fun. What was it like for you to be on this little mini-series, and how did you get involved?
It meant a lot. I had so much fun. It was hours upon hours of filming and hours of waiting, and it was a lot of learning experiences. I'm really grateful to have like been behind the camera and watch stuff and see how much work it takes to light up a room just for like a 30-minute scene. It was insane how much stuff I've learned, and I really appreciate that whole crew, every single person, from the light guy, the camera guy's assistant, the light person's assistant, like everybody. That whole crew deserves Emmys and Oscars and all of that stuff because they worked their asses off. But I had so much fun. And I'm still, hoping for that season 2 call.
Oh, were they discussing a season 2?
I mean,
I'd watch the fuck out of that.
the people definitely doing it. Yeah, so it's been a thing in the air. It's been floating around, Nothing confirmed yet, but I'm definitely hoping and praying for we get greenlit for a season 2.
Wow, that would be wonderful. What kind of feedback have you gotten from people about you being on the series?
I've got nothing but love. I've got so much love from all over the world. It is insane. Like, I was expecting people to, show me love, but the fact that till this day, I still get people, like just last night, I had this lady write me a long message saying how she just watched the show and my story connected with her because she has a queer son and she never wants him to go through life and feel like he doesn't belong or feel like his family doesn't love him. And every single person has told me in so many different ways and so many different languages that they love the fact that I showed my hardship, but also showed that I didn't let it stop me and that I kept going. So a lot of people are really, really appreciative of my motivation to keep going regardless of what's going on around me. Like, I'm going to keep doing what I got to do.
Well, that's really, really exciting. I was hoping for that because you seem so earnest and full of love yourself, and you seem very open and honest and fun-loving. So it's good to know that people are out there and connecting with you in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned that you had troubles growing up because your parents were not 100% on board of the Mermaid ship.
Mm-hmm.
But then a lot of people in the mer community seem like they're queer. A lot of queer people, they have to form their own families.
Right. I definitely appreciate the community, especially the ones in my pod, the ones who I actually talk to and text and call on the phone. Because without them, I don't know where I would be. I know it'd be lonely as hell, for one, but I can go on record and say that now, since the show aired, my parents are so proud of me and they're so appreciative of the show, and they actually liked that I was honest about everything that was going on in the past and, as of recent. So, I actually spoke to my mom like 2 days ago, and she's doing great. And she was sending me love. She's excited about me having my own doll come out now. So everything's actually been looking good, but I definitely appreciate my Murph family for sure. And like you said, being queer, I love that we can just go out and find our star family and find people that'll love us regardless and take us in regardless and have our back regardless. So I'm very appreciative of my real family and my star family.
That is so good to hear. That was like a big question mark. I think me and my wife's head was like, I hope Blix's birth parents are going to see this and they're going to change their minds. They're going to be proud of this person person who fucking deserves it.
Right. Thank you.
My wife had a question during that part when you're talking about your birth parents and they're not so crazy about what you're doing. Did you get a lot of offers from other like surrogate mothers out there that said, hey, I'll be your mermom?
Yes.
Did that happen?
Yes, that is another one. I got a lot of new star moms now that told me if I'm in whatever city they're at, their house is open to me. They'll feed me, do all types of stuff. So that was really, really humbling to see so many random people be like, you're my son now. I got you. So yeah, that was really cool. I honestly wasn't expecting that too much, but I got a lot of new moms now.
Well, you got 2 more new moms over here because Ave was like, I will totally be Blix's mommy.
Yay.
No problem. She's actually a good swimmer too. I'd love to be your mommy as well, but I don't swim so good. But in spirits, I definitely will be your mom.
Right. Yes, you can cheer me on from the side of the pool. I love it. I appreciate it so much. It brings so much joy and fulfillment to my heart to know that my story has touched people in that way.
And now for some more very important commercial messages.
From Out TV.
Do you need release?
Buckle up, baby girl. The fun's about to begin.
This here is Crazy Town, and you're the mayor of it.
Why does the party always end up in the kitchen?
I'm here to probe your black hole.
Eat your heart out, bitch.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's get some joy.
I had my heart set on a pizza, though. Fresh as fuck.
Brace yourself.
What is this thing?
It's a body up in here.
Don't be sorry, be better.
I'm still the baddest demon around.
I'm a sexy yin-yang, motherfucker.
Feels like the real thing.
Been freaking me the fuck out.
Let's fry this bitch.
Let the fisting begin. Psychiatrist.
6 exciting episodes now available at outtv.com, or just go to pseudopsychiatrist.com for a direct link. Also available on the Out TV Apple TV channel. Sign up now, the first week is free. And also available on demand in the UK and Ireland via the Fruit TV, that's FROOT.TV channel. Use the code Disasterina for a free month. My Canadian drag son, ZWERG, with a very dramatic reading of a haunting fish tale.
Well, hello there, naughty Disasterina. It is I, ZWERG. I'm not even going to try that. I don't know how you do that. Hi, Dee. It's ZWERG, your Canadian drag son, in the beautiful little province of New Brunswick on the East Coast. I'm very excited about the mermaid theme. My brother, abstract painter Jared Betts, is a mermaid. He's straight, and I said, are you sure you're not a merman? He said, no, I'm a mermaid. And then speaking of mermen, I almost had one of the world's top mermen killed by a shark. He asked me to design something for him to wear in photo shoots. So I was thinking kelp, seaweed. I made this really flowy thing with lots of ribbons and yarn. And he said he wore it in the water for a photo shoot and the sharks read it as a school of fish. So they started coming really close, but he got some really good shots. Anyway, I am going to recite this mermaid tale from the east coast of Canada here. It's from these beautiful little islands called the Magdalens Islands, Île de la Madeleine en français. So this is The Mermaid of the Magdalens, and the author is Cyrus McMillan. Far off the northeast coast of Canada is a group of rugged islands called the Magdalens. They are a lonely, barren group, but although the islands are barren of grass and flowers and trees, the waters around and between them are rich in fish. The kingdom of fish, men call the place, for adventurous traders grow wealthy there, reaping the harvest of the sea. The greatest product of the waters is the lobster. He always inhabited these northern seas, and about his power in olden times strange tales are told. Away off the coast of one of the islands, you can still see on fine moonlit nights in May a maiden combing her long hair and looking wistfully to the land. Sometimes, too, you can hear her strange song. She is the phantom lady of the island, over whom the lobster in faraway days used his power. She is now a prisoner of the deep, held there as punishment for her deeds. Now it happened that long ago, when fish were first canned for food, there was a great slaughter of sardines by cruel, money-greedy traders who caught them, packed them in small boxes, and shipped them to far countries. These traders received large money rewards for their labor. The sardines saw their number slowly growing smaller. For being little, they were helpless against their captors. In despair, they asked the big fish of the sea to help them. A meeting of all the fish in the sea was called. Here, the big fish took an oath to help their small cousins and to punish all who ate or fished the sardine family. One May day, a large ship loaded with packed fish was wrecked on the sunken rocks of the Magdalen Islands. Soon, the ship was broken up by the heavy surf on the sharp reef, and her cargo was strewn along the shore. It happened that in the cargo were many boxes of sardines, and they too were washed up on the beach by the tide. After the sea had calmed, a fair maiden who lived on the island with her father, a fish trader, walked along the shore to view the wreckage of the broken ship. She found, to her delight, one of the boxes in which the sardines were packed. She resolved at once to eat the contents, for she too, like all the world at that time, liked the little fish. But although she tried as hard as she could, she was unable to open the box. She sat by the sea and sang a song of lament, calling on anyone who could help her open the box. She sang, "I love sardines when they're boiled with beans and mixed with the sands of the sea." Away out from the beach, a skatefish was resting on a sandbar. Hearing the song of the maiden, he quickly swam towards the shore. When he came close enough to hear the words of the song and to know what the box contained, he swam away in great disgust. He was too timid to try to punish the maiden. Then a bold merman heard the song. He had long looked for a landwife to live with him in his home under the sea. Now he said, "Here at last is a shore maiden for me." The voice of the singer was beautiful to him, so he went to his looking-glass to dress himself in the most genteel fashion. From bright, clean seaweeds and sea leaves, he quickly made himself a new suit. After dressing himself carefully, he hastened in the direction of the song. But when he came close enough to hear the words and to know what the box contained, he remembered his oath to all the little fish, and although he loved the singer, he swam hurriedly away. For, like the skatefish, he too feared to try to punish the maiden. The maiden was now sore distressed. The box was still unopened, and the girl was hungry for the fish. Going to the edge of the sea, she knocked the box hard against a large rock, but the box would not break. Now it chanced that under the rock, a large black lobster lay sleeping quietly after a long battle out at sea. The tapping on the roof of his sleeping place awoke him, and he rubbed his eyes and he listened. The maiden was again singing her song. "Oh, I love sardines when they're boiled with beans. I am dying for some, will no one come and open this box for me?" Then the lobster remembered his oath at the great gathering of the fish. Unlike the merman and the skatefish, he had no fear of the maiden, and he resolved at once upon a crafty trick. He came out of his hiding place, and waving his claw, he said, "Fair lady, I can open the box for you." But when in answer she held the box out towards him in her hand, he grasped her by the wrist with his strong claw, and holding her fast, he swam with her far out to sea. Where he went and what he did with her, nobody knows. It is believed that he sold her to the merman who had long sought a shore wife, and that she is still being slowly transformed into a fish. She never came back to the land, but on the first day of May, she always appears on the water away off the coast of the island. She holds in her hand a looking glass, and she looks at herself to see if she is nearer to a fish than she was on the May day the year before. And sometimes on moonlit nights in May, the fishermen hear her strange, sad song. They know then that she is lonely, and that she is singing her song to lure land comrades for company. And on these nights they stay on shore, for they know that if they venture out to sea, she will seize them and carry them off for playmates to her home of bright shells far under the sea. That was The Mermaid of the Magdalens by Cyrus McMillan. And this is ZWERG signing off.
Go follow ZWERG on Instagram at ZWERG_THIELE. I love you, ZWERG. And now for part 2, or maybe it's part 3, I'm not sure, of Blick Tsunami. So what kind of opportunities have you gotten from this?
Nothing.
Nothing? No, I don't believe that. People must be like, you gotta do this party. You gotta come to Dubai. We're gonna pay you $1 million.
Okay, I can say I've had one person hit me up and be like, oh, we're gonna do this big thing. So I'm actually still in talks with them. But the only other offers I've gotten is people wanting to make music for me, which that alone is a lot because I was not expecting that. So I've had like at least 4 producers hit me up and be like, I want to put you in the studio. You don't got to pay for nothing. I want to make beats for you. And I'm like, shit, okay, that's perfect. But like gigs and shows and performing, I have not gotten anything.
Nothing
of that nature yet. I just keep telling myself the right people to do stuff like that hasn't seen it yet. So I'm cool with it. I'm okay. I'm focused right now on putting out music. So when those shows do come, I have more than one song to perform. So I honestly think the universe is like doing its thing. It's like, no, I'm going to get you those shows, but have a few more songs out. Because me personally, I wouldn't want to get hired for something and they're like, oh, we want you to perform. And I only got Swish Splash on them. But now a new song dropped today. So now I have 2 songs that I can perform. And then I have like 3 more songs that I'm working on. So those days will come. Those performances and those type of gigs will definitely come in the future. I have a feeling in my backbone that those will definitely be appearing really soon.
So talk about that new song. I just noticed it came up on the Spotify. It's called Give Me a Splash. Talk about it.
That song, I wrote it. When did I write that song? I don't even remember when I wrote it, but I recorded it back in June, late May, early June. And it's a really feel-good song. It's like a song, I call it the runway song because there's a part in it where it's like I'm telling people to walk and it's like a runway. So I want people to feel it. I want them to put on their best clothes, their best makeup, their best jewelry, and just walk outside and be fierce and not care what nobody else think and let the whole world know that the world is their runway. So when people hear Give Me a Splash, I want them to be on their best runway walk behavior. It's definitely a walking song, which is kind of cliche for me being a mermaid.
Well, you know, I'm sure fish are doing the catwalk. Maybe it's the fish walk.
Right?
It's the catfish walk.
The catfish. Oh, my God.
I want a percentage of that.
Let me tell you, so my comic book that I'm coming out with, there's a place called the Catfish Club. So remember that.
Y'all not gonna play with me? am the one and only Lick Tsunami. You see me splashing on your TV screen. Yeah, that's me split splashing on your TV screen. When me coming out the water and me coming to your city, what me do? Splash. Do me really care about where the anchovy money mouth out? Nah. When me coming out the water and me coming to your city, what me do? Splash. Do me really care about where the anchovy money mouth out?
That's so cool. You're coming out with all these different products. You're coming out with music. You're coming out with a comic book. And you're coming out with, it was a doll, right? How's that going?
It's going great. Like the crowdfunding for it is going amazing. People are donating like every other day. It's going really good. I'm not in a rush to bring it out because I want to make sure it is perfect, because I never would have thought I would have had an opportunity to be able to make my own doll, because I'm so also mermaid doll obsessed, as everybody saw. And even as a 31-year-old adult, there never, ever in the history of toys ever been a Black mermaid doll. So it is my goal in my life to be the one to bring that out. And it's happening. So I'm just blessed that it's even happening. So I'm really thankful for it.
So you were collecting dolls as a kid. When was the first time that you got a mermaid doll?
The first time I got one was in elementary school. This girl who I went to school with, everybody knew I was mermaid obsessed since elementary school. So this one girl, she was like, "Oh, I have this Ariel doll you can have. I'll bring it to school." And she brought it to me the next day, and it was like the best day of my life. I never had a doll before. It was an Ariel doll. I cherished that doll. I had to hide that doll. But then one day, my mom found that doll, and that doll ended up in the trash. So years later, after graduating high school and getting my own job for the first time, I was like, oh, I got my own check, which I can spend on whatever I want. And those checks went to me starting my mermaid collection. So I honestly wasn't able to collect mermaid dolls until I had my first job.
Do you have a huge mermaid doll collection? You must.
Yes, and it is forever growing, and it is crazy.
That's awesome. So let's say somebody, they want to hire you. What kind of things do you do? You know, like birthday parties or photo shoots, or what kind of things do people hire you for?
All the things. Parties. I've had photographers hit me up and say they want to do shoots because a lot of people have never shot a mermaid before. Corporate events, I'll do those. TV appearances, I have no problem with those. Dry events, which is something where you just put your tail on and you sit down and not swim. Those ones for me are kind of boring. I'll do it, but I'd rather be at a pool party. And beforehand, I used to just go and swim and talk to the guests and, splash around. But now, since I have music out, I'm able to put on my hiring emails like, hey, do you want it to be a dry event where I just sit and blow bubbles all day? Or do you want it to be a wet event where I'm swimming and doing stuff? Or do you want me to swim and perform? Or do you want me to just perform? So it's a lot now.
That is so cool.
And I've actually had one person who I'm still in emails with that wants me to do a surprise birthday party. And they want me to swim and perform. So I was like, okay, this ain't cheap. It's a lot. And then you're in another state. So I try to tell people like, yo, my resume calls for the price that I have. Like, I've done a lot of things and I used to always not charge my worth. But now with me being on this Netflix and having Tosh.0 and traveling to the things I have done and the music, now I have to charge my worth. Like, I have to tell myself, like, stop being nice. If somebody can't afford it, then I'm not supposed to be there. There's going to be people that's going to be able to afford me.
That's a really good attitude to have because, what you do is complicated.
Yes.
It's expensive.
Yes.
And travel is a big time consumer and it's really super expensive. It's always a struggle for artists to really ask for what they deserve.
Right.
And I am an artist myself, so I am in that boat, so I understand. So good for you that you're very proactive about it.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want some more important commercial messages? Well, here they are.
Mitchell Dobby here for Cold Sluts on Fire. Sorry, Kermit, but it's never been easier to be green. Get your Disasterina logo t-shirt in beautiful sea green now. Be seen, go green at coldslutsonfire.com.
Now, when you do these conventions and people see you, do they go up to you and they start to cry?
Are you saying since the show came out?
Okay, I'm not bragging or anything, but when I do conventions, people have seen me on this TV show called Dragula, and I do other TV things on this network called Out TV.
Yes.
And they've seen my content and my YouTube videos and stuff, and they come up to me and like, oh my God, I can't believe it's you! And they start crying.
Yeah.
That must happen to you.
I've had that happen a few times. Actually, in the past. Before I got on Netflix, I've actually had people come to me screaming like that and crying.
So there are a lot of people who watch the Netflix series or see your TikTok videos or something, and they get really inspired. And I imagine a lot of young people watch you as well. What would you say to these young people or any people who come to you and say that I'm inspired by you? Thank you.
Well, for one, I say thank you for even saying that I inspire you to do anything. And two, I would always tell them, like, my main goal in life is to always make sure that people know that they can follow their dreams and to keep following your dreams because the payoff is worth it. Like the middle part of the struggling and trying to find yourself and trying to see who's actually there for you and who's actually going to stick around and support, like that's all a part of the adventure. It's all part of the journey. But once it's all said and done, you're going to be like, wow, I really made it. I really didn't let nobody stop me from following my dreams because I'm a prime example of it. So I always tell people, like, speaking from experience, just follow your dreams regardless of what anybody says. And I've definitely said that to a lot of people. I've had one person that was like, they're scared to, tell their friends and their family that they love mermaids because they don't want to get judged and all this blah, blah. And I'm like, and that's the first problem. We care too much about other people's negative opinion, and it makes us backpedal and second guess what we really want to do and what really makes us happy. And I always want people to know that if something makes you happy, don't let anybody's decision take that away from you, like nobody. So I told them, hey, once you find that courage to stand on your 10 toes and be like, hey, this is me, love it or hate it, that's not my problem. If you love it, join me. If you hate it, stay over there in your misery. I'm going to do me and live my best life. Because life is too short to be worrying about what other people think about the things that you like. I tell people all the time, like, I wouldn't came this far if I cared about people telling me, oh, you shouldn't be doing that because it's for girls. Well, I'm going to make it for boys too, damn it.
Well, that is the best possible advice I could think of for anybody. Just follow your dreams. Yeah. Do the thing you want to do. Life is short. If you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it?
When are you going to do it? By the time you decide to do it, it might be too late.
You're going to do it when you're 89 years old in the hospital, with the tube up your nose?
Right.
No, you got to do it now.
Do it now, yes.
I have a interview series and videos called My Drag is Valid. And one of the questions is, what is your dream project? If you had all the resources, if you had all the ducats, if you had nothing in the way, what would be your dream project? What would you do?
So I have two dream projects. The first dream project is a musical stage tour around the world. A Mermaid extravaganza Blick Tsunami stage spectacular that people have never seen before in their life. So that's one dream goal that I know is going to happen. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I dream about it. So that equals I've seen it. So that also equals it's going to happen. And that's another thing too. I tell people, like, whatever you want, claim it, believe it, ask whoever your higher power is you talk to, that's what you want, tell that higher power that's what you want, and then let it go.
And visualize it. That's super important.
You got to visualize it. You got to smell it. You got to feel it. You got to hear it. You got to taste it, and then let it go. And don't doubt it. Don't come back and be like, oh, that might not happen. Nope. You can't do it. You got to already act and believe that it already happened. So that musical stage, crazy extravaganza show, it already happened. And that's how I look at it. And then number 2, anything with Beyonce. Rather that's like getting hired by her to swim in her pool for a party or being in her music video for like 5 seconds, anything dealing with Beyonce, her personally, or even if it's just getting invited to her house to sit and have sweet tea with her. That's a goal too. So I feel like that's going to happen. Actually, for the cameras, I talked about this random reoccurring one dream that I've had about Beyonce since I started my whole mermaid career and doing it professionally. It's always the same dream in the same moment. And it's always me sitting on the edge of a pool at some big mansion party. You can tell it's somebody who got money because there's a lot of people. There's a lot of designer stuff on. There's sparkles. There's music. There's lights. And there's a mansion in the background. It's always the same scene. And then I always see Beyonce come out the crowd. And then I always dive into the pool, swim towards her, wave at her from underwater. And then I come up and she always says, "You are so beautiful." And I say, "You are so beautiful too, Beyonce." And I wake up every single time. It's the same dream. And she always has on like a orangey, peachy colored dress with a high split for her thigh out. It's the same thing every time. And it's random. It doesn't happen like every night. It happens like every 5 months. I have to have one dream. So I don't know.
This doesn't sound like a dream. This sounds like it's happened. This sounds like deja vu.
Right?
The tentacles will go out into the sea and they will tap her on the shoulder and she'll hear about you.
Somebody on her team, I feel like somebody's going to be like, "Yo, B, have you seen that Mer People show on Netflix yet?" It's going to happen one day.
Well, do you have any final words for your fish fans out there?
Well, for my sugar stars, because I don't like to use the word fans. I like sugar stars. I think it's more personal. So my sugar stars, just keep following your dreams, baby. Just keep following your dreams, no matter how hard life get, no matter who or what try to knock you down. Tunnel vision on your dreams. And that's it.
The perfect advice. Thank you so much, Blick Tsunami.
Thank you. Flash you later.
Music on the podcast by Satell, Satelle. Go find them on the Spotify. Also by Dr. Stevo, DoctorSteevo. Find them at drstevo.com or on Instagram. Also by my buddy Kent Holmes. In order to find Kent, just go to some random bar on a Saturday night in Los Angeles and Kent's going to be playing in whatever cover or tribute band that they're in at the moment, which is like 23 of them. I would like to personally thank our fantastic Patreon supporters. You are the ones who are keeping this podcast growing and going. Love you. Joseph Raish, Indra Lowenstein, Amy Marsh, Jeremy McNabb, Keith Ferguson, Annalyn Bond, Rollerblaze, Sassy C, Sylvia Ahmed, Tom, Ali, Carrie Wolf, Eric Peterson, John Get Bent, Renee Redanius, Melissa Sarah, Julia Levine, Rhea, Simin Lo, Spencer Montoya, Story Nagel, and Katrina Miller. Thank you so much, and remember, Patreon supporters, if you have any questions for the magical Disasterina Queen herself, just go ahead and send me a message to Patreon, and I will answer your question on the air on the podcast. Special perks for you. You wanna be as wonderful as those people? Well then go to Patreon, I don't know how to fucking pronounce it, .com/Cold Sluts on Fire. One word, give us plenty of your greenbacks. We need it.